So this is a little awkward, isn't it? Usually around this time every year, I bounce in with my best Glee Club impersonation and rattle off the top 10 new shows list with near breathless abandon. Why? Well, honestly, because lists are news you can use fun, and end-of-year lists hopefully offer some binge options going into the downtime of the new year. And I'm going to do that today, but after the horrible year full of great TV that was 2020, the tone has to change, even if the content doesn't. For one thing, on this second to last day of this year of election that saw millions take to the streets in protest against racial injustice and police brutality, and hundreds of millions shelter in place at home under COVID-19 lockdown as the virus devastated our lives, our economy, and our sense of exceptionalism, the small screen suddenly became a lifeline to the world for many, as much as an art form. So let's do this time round as more of an appreciation than a celebration. Okay? And with that, a real-life true crime appreciation has to be in order for number 10 on our list, HBO's I'll Be Gone in the Dark.
The Golden State Killer is one of the most prolific, violent, serial rapists, and eventually a murderer.
And the tragedy of this case to me is that it's not better known.
This gripping, Amy Ryan narrated 6-part documentary series was as much an exploration of the late Michelle McNamara's book of the same name about the Golden State Killer as it was about the sleuthing author's motivation and efforts behind the almost unfinished book, The End of Her Own Life, and the DNA-generated capture of the serial killer and rapist who plagued California from 1973 to 1986. Debuting on the premium cabler in the middle of a figuratively and literally overheating summer, I'll Be Gone in the Dark, with McNamara's husband Patton Oswalt serving as an EP and on-camera emotional guide in many respects, is a tale about consequences, obsession, and ultimately justice, which is another way of saying, if you haven't seen it, see it. There's another HBO show at number 9, with the poignant alt history, The Plot Against America.
My intention is to preserve American democracy by preventing America from taking part in another world war.
What if Lindbergh does win?
Penned and executive produced by frequent collaborators David Simon and Ed Burns, the 6-part miniseries based on the 2004 novel by the late Philip Roth was perfectly suited for the unsteady political and cultural landscape of this election year, in the best and worst ways. Mapped against the rise of legendary aviator Charles Lindbergh as an anti-war and anti-Semitic populist who becomes president and begins to dismantle American democracy under the tutorage of fascist string pullers in Nazi Germany, the close-to-the-bone plot had a stellar cast led by Winona Ryder, Zoe Kazan, Morgan Spector, and John Turturro. It also had a voice and a perspective that spoke directly to our time and our America, with a history that seemed anything but alternative. Making a very different set of moves, Netflix Queen's Gambit takes the 8th place on our board.
Men are gonna come along and want to teach you things. Doesn't make them any smarter. You just let them blow by.
Set against a backdrop of addiction, mental health, and the opening decades of the Cold War, the systemmetrical nature of the chess opening of the title and the narrative strategy at play in the Scott Frank and Alan Scott created limited series based on Walter Tevis's 1983 novel proved to be a champion for a nation looking for a new type of American hero. Delivering record-breaking viewership for the streamer with its October launch, the 7-episode Gambit had mouth-watering production value and textured scripts. But it had to be Anya Taylor-Joy's formidable performance as a Kentucky orphan turned ambitious chess prodigy that put the show on the board and the map. For number 7 on our list, now don't hate me and don't think I'm cheating, but we have a tie with the Michael Jordan docuseries The Last Dance and Michael Sheen and David Tennant's Staged.
Every day was a battle.
Dennis, get up here.
Boom. They don't hear and see Dennis for 48 hours.
No matter what we did, it seemed like it was a story.
Chronicling the Chicago Bulls championship-winning 1997 to 1998 season, ESPN's Emmy-winning Last Dance suffered from a few of the obvious shortcomings of an authorized biography, but still managed to pull back the competitive veil on Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, Kerr, and Phil Jackson's last hurrah together, as well as giving a live sports-starved nation some NBA excellence on which to feast.
You've grown your hair?
Extensions, actually.
Oh. Michael?
Judy.
Are those extensions too?
No, this is all me.
By far the best of the COVID lockdown efforts so far, the virtual reunion of Dark Omen's duo Sheen and Tennant as an almost unbearable and sociopathic versions of themselves in preparation for a performance of 6 characters in search of an author was an unexpected and often hilarious delight from the BBC that is now on Hulu and will be back for a second, and we assume virtual season, next year. Ending the first part of our best new shows of 2020, we have the genre and cultural busting Lovecraft Country from Misha Green and HBO.
George, the reason I'm back home, my father, he's gone missing.
Led by underground vet Journey Smollett and Jonathan Majors and the vast talent known as Michael K. Williams, Lovecraft, which is based on Matt Ruff's sometimes surreal 2016 novel, took the segregated America of the 1950s and family secrets and pains and tore off the narcotic of nostalgia, put people of color in places where they've been traditionally excluded narratively and literally, then through time, space, magic and history in a bottle, shook it all up, and served up a searing 10-episode delicacy for the heart, spirit, soul, mind, and eyes. So there. That should set you up for some NYE binging at home tomorrow. And as you're seeing in 2021, raise a glass to the departed, to the frontline healthcare workers, and to those amazing essential workers who literally put themselves in harm's way for the rest of us this year. I'll be back on January 1st with our top 5 shows of 2020 and some very unconventional selections. So see you then. And remember, if you have to go out over New Year's, keep your social distance. And don't be a chump. Wear a mask.